Nick Parakatis with a small presentation on the sum of the terms of a geometric sequence. Whenever you have a sum of terms, remember, as in arithmetic sequences, it's called a series. And here are two examples. We have the first series, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. You guys can see here that the common ratio is 2. And for the second one, we keep on dividing by 2 or multiplying by a half, and the common ratio here is a half. If you want to add up the terms, or say you want to add up the first 20 terms of the first sequence, it's a good idea to use the top formula here. Notice here, the reason we do that is because r is bigger than 1 in the denominator, and we won't get a negative in the denominator. So it's just good practice to use the top formula when r is bigger than 1. And for the second sequence where r is a half, and because a half is less than 1, it's a good idea to use the second sum. This is just good practice. There is no rule. You could use any of the two formulas you want, but it's just good practice to use the each sequence separately according to the value of r. Okay, here's an example on a geometric sequence and series. What's given here is a geometric sequence that has a second term of 21, so we could write that down. U of 2 is 21, and the fourth term, u of 4, is 5.25. It's asking us to find the common ratio. The only thing we have is basically the formula, which is u of n is u of 1 r to the n minus 1. And let's try to apply the information that we have here two different ways on the formula. Let's try it for u of 2. So we can say u of 2 is u of 1 r to the 2 minus 1. U of 2 is given to us, it's 21, so we can just plug in here. 21 is u of 1 r to the 1. Let's keep this. Let's also write, let's plug in the information for u of 4 into the formula. We have u of 4 is u of 1 r to the 4 minus 1. U of 4 is 5.25 is u of 1 r to the 3. And let's keep this. This is equation 1. This is equation 2. We got to do some stuff with this now. Okay, let's write down the two equations. We have equation 1, 21 is u1r, and we had equation 2, 5.25 is u1r cubed. We divide these equations, 1 over 2. We get 21 over 5.25 is u1r over u1r cubed. The u1's obviously cancel. 21 over 5.25 is 4. R over r cubed is r. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. So 4 is 1 over r squared. If we write this, if we cross multiply, 4r squared is 1. R squared is 1 over 4. And if you solve it right here, you got r is plus or minus root of a fourth. R is plus or minus a half. Okay. Obviously, because there's two values of r, there's two values of u1. If you use this stuff in equation 1, say you use r as a half. If you use r as a half, you get 21 is u1r, where r is a half. I'll plug it in. So u1, if you cross multiply, is 42. And for r is negative a half, you get 21 is u1 times negative a half. And if you cross multiply, you get u1 is negative 42. There's two values now of the sequence. If the first term is 42, and you use r as a half, the second term is 21. If you divide by 2 or multiply by half, you get 10.5, and then the next term is 5.25. That's for r is half. And if r is negative a half, we start off with r is negative 42. If you multiply negative 42 by negative a half, you get 21. If you multiply by negative a half, you get negative 10.5. And if you multiply by negative a half, you get 5.25. And obviously there's two sums we can find. And to find these sums, we gotta use the sum formula. Let's write down the sum formula. The sum formula, I'll put it up here, is S of n, u of 1 minus r to the n, 1 minus r. Why did I use this formula instead of the r minus 1? It's because r is less than 1 and greater than negative 1. So it's between the values of 1 and negative 1. It's a good idea to use this formula when you get r values that are less than 1, bigger than negative 1. So we can just answer the question. For the first sequence, which was 42, 21, 10.5, 5.25, we can hit this. S of 10 is u of 1, which is 42. 1 minus a half to the 10. You got to use a calculator here. 1 minus a half. The value that we get here is 83.92. And for the sequence, negative 42, 21, negative 10.5, 5.25. If we use the same formula, you get S of 10 is negative 42, 1 minus a half to the 10th over 1 minus a half. Small correction here, there should be a negative in front of the half and a negative in front of the half here on the bottom, so it becomes plus a half. If you do this calculation on your GDC, the sum is approximately negative 27.97. If you want three significant figures like they want on the IB usually, 83.9 for the first one and negative 27.9 for the second one.